We still need to do a reflection, and we still need to take a look at the year ahead. I want to go through and see the goals that I made for myself for 2026 and see if I'm still on track to complete those goals by the end of the year, and also to see if there might be some things that need some adjusting. Hey, it's Nyla. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. If we haven't met yet, I am a full-time working mom with a 3-year-old, and on this channel I like to talk about all things design, specifically focusing on the home, how that impacts our well-being, and just different things we can do daily to improve that. If that all sounds good to you, please make sure to like and subscribe. I release videos every Tuesday. So the goal for today's video is to do a mid-year reflection. I know it's July, however, June was a bit busy and we're almost at the end of July, so technically it's still mid-year, and we still need to do a reflection, and we still need to take a look at the year ahead, and what better time than now. So I have here my planner, which I like to keep track of my monthly goals. I want to go through and see the goals that I made for myself for 2026 and see how I'm doing, see if I'm still on track to complete those goals by the end of the year, and also to see if there might be some things that need some adjusting. So starting off in my home category, my 2026 goals are to complete a new project each month, make my home feel more personal, learn a new home construction skill, and to make lists of projects I'd like to do. So far I've been focusing on completing a new project every month and then also making my home feel more personal, which I do think I've been doing little by little. Obviously it takes a lot of time and money to make your home feel personal, and people spend years working on their home and getting it up to par with what they really want. And then on top of that, styles change and your style changes, and you might have one area, for example my vanity area, that I still want to make further upgrades to this. So I've been trying to add little touches of my personality here and there, but so far I think that this is actually going really well. I've completed some projects that I feel like added a lot more personality, especially because of the home that I'm living in. It's new construction, but it's also very builder grade, and we all know with apartments it can be limited with certain things that we can do. So I'm trying to make the most of my space without completely reconstructing it to the point where I can't get it back to the way that it was before I move out, which kind of leads me back to my next 2026 goal, which is to learn a new home construction skill. And I really should say a series of skills because I've learned some small ones, but I do want to learn bigger ones. And I started looking into a class that I could take that's kind of an intro to home construction DIY. They introduce you to different types of tools. So I do think that I can utilize something like that in order to make my home goals come true. I know with some of the things that I've done here, like the removable wallpaper in my daughter's room, I think that's gonna do something crazy to the walls. So I know I'm gonna have to touch up the walls in her room. So that's where we're at with that. And I'm really interested in learning those things, which probably came from my dad, because he was a contractor and I really wish I'd learned more from him while I could. But here we are, I'm carrying on his spirit and we're learning things little by little, and I'm really happy with the progress I've made so far. I would say what needs work for my home category would probably be the cleaning schedule, but you know what? As a full-time working mom and having my daughter here while I'm working, I've been struggling so much with maintaining balance as far as my house being clean and also trying to maintain balance in all of the other areas of my home. But the area being a little bit of a struggle is to be expected with the limited amount of free time that I have. So I'm still working on a cleaning schedule that fits me and fits my life and works best for me and we're still navigating that. We're still taking it one day at a time, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm just going to keep managing and working on that goal. So my personal category I have here for my 2026 goals is to create an easy habit tracker and to follow it, to create a list of characteristics of the person I want to be and learn to be her, and also to create a list of the person that I am. So as far as tracking habits, I would say what's going well right now is the fact that I'm mostly doing the habits, and what's probably not going so well is me actually recording the fact that I'm doing the habits, because sometimes even when we think that we're doing something consistently, we may not be doing it as consistently as we think we are. For example, I've been trying to drink 70 ounces of water every day, or just have like 70 ounces of liquid intake every day. So even though it feels like I'm filling up my water bottle, it may not be exactly hitting that number. And the whole goal of the habit tracker is to be able to not use the habit tracker. I want to keep consistently doing it so that it no longer becomes necessary for me to track it, if that makes sense. I want it to be like second nature, because my body has developed this habit of filling up my water bottle, drinking water, so I no longer need to track it because I know that I'm doing it. So I do want to keep tracking my habits until I get to the point where I know that I'm hitting those habits consistently. In my never-ending quest to grow, it's really important to me to keep reaching for different goals and to keep growing. I don't like the feeling of being stagnant and staying still and not moving forward, especially when I have goals and life goals that I know that I want to complete. So I've actually had this on my list to create a list of different personality traits, or what's the right word? Not personality traits, but I would say like different personality traits and just different habits of the type of person that I would like to grow into, obviously without making complete drastic changes to my core and who I am with my core being. In order for me to figure out the type of person that I'm looking to be, I want to be able to start somewhere, and I want to be able to reach for and name those traits. That way I know I always have it in the back of my head that I'm motivated, I'm consistent, I'm growing, I'm positive, so on and so forth. So I want to list it out so I can put a name to the trait, and I feel like that will really help me to grow and to move forward. And honestly, I do feel like I've grown a lot this year, and I've made a lot of changes from last year, and I've been able to slowly kick old habits. And even if I'm still working on them, even if sometimes I have setbacks, even if it's not always consistent, I feel like one of the main hurdles is just being self-aware and understand that there are some things that you do struggle with, and that's literally like half the battle. So next up we have the health category, which my 2026 goals were to get back into therapy, get back into a vegan diet, and do more meal prepping. So I will say that for the most part this is going well. I did reach out to a therapist and I did do an intake session and it went really well, so hopefully that stays consistent. As far as a vegan diet, I am going to be adjusting this one a little bit, because so let's go through the list here. I feel like my body was feeling its best as far as like energy levels and like not being as like bloated and just overall doing well. I'm not sure if a vegan diet is serving me in my current season of life, mainly because it does involve a level of strictness that can be hard to reach if I'm not fully focused on it. And with my daughter and work and balancing life, like it can be very hard to do that and then focus on what I'm eating, making sure I'm staying low carb, making sure I'm eating right. Now I've been interested in trying an anti-inflammatory diet, also low carb, also dairy free, and then also gluten free. I'm gonna be experimenting with that to see if it helps with the skin issues I've been having. Originally, when my skin issues started, they ruled out a food sensitivity or a food allergy because they said that I didn't really already have some of the other symptoms that would typically go along with that. So I haven't really put much thought into the food that I'm eating in regards to my skin. However, I recently noticed that it seems like maybe soy or tofu like I could be reacting to, and so I've been talking to my dietitian, and she said I can give this a try and see what works, see if it helps, and just make a note of when my flare-ups are occurring. So that's what I'm doing now. So I'm trying to avoid soy, tofu, and see if that helps with my skin flare-ups. I also want to do anti-inflammatory because I want to see if it helps to reduce like the bloating in my stomach, because I feel like my stomach just gets bloated, but then also see if that is related to gluten in some way, and maybe not like an allergy, but more along the lines of a sensitivity. And also, what else did I say? And then dairy sometimes can also have an impact on bloating and with like different sensitivities. So we're trying this out for like a 2-week span, and the reason I say not a vegan diet anymore is because I also want to be able to get my protein in. So I've been more along the lines of pescatarian as opposed to vegan. That way I can get my protein in, and then also try to stay low carb because I want to try to get my A1C down. There's a lot going on in the food area right now, but I'm doing my best to maintain that, and we'll see how that goes. I just really want to focus on the results and then hopefully get some answers. That way I know. What needs work in that area, I would say, is meal prepping. Meal prepping can still be a little bit of a struggle for me. I've been doing something more along the lines of ingredient prep so that I can just throw things together into a meal. But I do want to meal prep more, and I'm thinking that maybe that may not happen more until my daughter goes back to school. So we'll see where the summer leads as far as that, but I may just try to pick that back up in the fall. So my next category is finances, and my goal here is to make additional and passive income, and then also to invest. While I've been hitting other goals in my finance category as far as like balancing budgets and things like that, these two goals sadly are not going that great. So making additional income, I really wanted to focus on Pinterest to hit that goal. However, I've been so focused on YouTube that it hasn't really been a reality for me. It's been so hard to juggle both because YouTube does take a lot of work between filming, coming up with content ideas, and then editing on top of that. So it's like I'm sure you've heard people say, but it's a full-time job all in itself. And then I have a child, which is a full-time job, and then I have my actual full-time job. So there's a lot going on with that. So I'm still working on ways to make my Pinterest dreams come true. I have tried to amp that up a little bit more lately. However, I feel like when you have all these things in the air and you can't really juggle too many things at once, one of those things is going to fall. So I have to be prepared to make cuts in some places in order to allow other things to shine through. And then investing, I did read up a little bit on investing. However, I haven't yet done it. So it's just a matter of doing it and finding a place to actually invest money. So that's where we're at now. So those are some things that I still need to work on. So for my leisure goals, for 2026, my plan is to spend more time on cultural development and learning about my interests, complete seasonal bucket lists, build a community with people who share my interests, plan more activities for my daughter, look into joining a book club, and look into taking an educational class. So as far as cultural development and learning about my interests, I would say that that's going pretty well. I've been looking more like online, and then I've also been visiting the bookstore to try to get a better idea of different things that I'm interested in. Learning about culture was a really big part of my pre-mom life, and back in college I was originally studying cultural anthropology, and then I transitioned into interior design, which I think you can kind of marry the two because it's all related. But anyway, so I did want to get back into that part of myself. My seasonal bucket lists are going well because I do like my 30-day reset when the seasons change. So far we're like halfway through the summer, so that's going good. I still have goals that I want to hit with that, so that's ongoing. I want to keep planning more activities for my daughter. Obviously when she goes to school, because they're gonna have her busy in school, but I still want her to have really active, fun things that she can do at home. So joining a book club, I don't know if it's so much that I want to join a book club that it is I want to read more, and I think that would help me to read more. So I think that I want to modify that goal into something more along the lines of being able to find time to read more, and I'm working on finding ways to do that. So as far as educational class, I mentioned the DIY home construction class that I'm interested in, so also going well. So for my beauty category, I have master a new basic makeup routine, thicker hair by increasing my collagen production, and softer skin with low tox products. And honestly, I feel like all those things are going well. So I did try a few new makeup routines. I did for Valentine's Day, for spring break, and then also recently for my birthday, and it was slow going because I wanted to take my time with it and really work on like my technique and my skills. So I'm really happy with the way that it came out and the way that it's going, so that's good. I still have a few more things that I want to try, but I have the rest of the year to look forward to for that. Thicker hair. So I've been doing prenatals, and honestly I think that's been working wonders for like my hair. My nails are growing, and my dietitian had actually recommended it, so I'm pretty happy with that. I've been using a company called Bird and Bee. They're a little bit more pricey, but I was doing the AG one for a little while, and that's even more expensive, so this is cheaper compared to that, and it's going really well for me. So softer skin with low tox products, definitely hit that goal because I discovered Herbivore, and their products are on the pricier side, but I actually really love their products. They feel so luxurious, they make my skin look good. I would definitely say I hit the mark with that. I guess I can modify that goal a little bit just to say that maybe I can find a lower cost alternative and have these as like my luxury product, or I can make more money to accommodate that lifestyle and be able to buy these products regularly, because honestly that's more along the lines of what I would like to do. So for my fitness category, my main goal is just to be more toned overall, and I actually would say that I'm progressing okay, not as fast as I would like, but I feel like that's with everybody. You work out one day and you want to instantly look better. So I have been pretty consistent with going to the gym, and that's also for like health goals and like my internal self, and not just, you know, what the outside looks like. So I would say that the fitness goals are actually going really well. Okay, so last but not least is my travel category, and my goals for travel are schedule a meeting for a trip to Europe with my family, and also to visit Canada. I'm not sure Canada is feasible anymore, especially because I was going to do that for my birthday, which is already passed. As far as Europe, I've been talking to my sister about that, and we want to plan a trip to Europe with the family. It's very hard to get everybody on the same page because I have a big family and everybody has their own ideas and their own interests, and then on top of that, when we do anything, even if it's a day trip, everybody is just kind of like moving in all different directions, and it's like very slow to move people along because it's like herding cats. But we're trying to plan something that everybody would be interested in, like a trip that they would actually want to invest in and go on. So that's still a goal this year, and maybe I'll modify that to, instead of just scheduling a meeting, let's get people to commit to the idea. Yes, that's what we want to do. We want to get people to commit to the idea because travel is life, and especially with someone like me who loves to see different cultures and different places and experience different things, I definitely want to travel more. And I haven't been to Europe yet. I've been to Asia, and I haven't been out of the country as much as I would like at this point in my life. So I want to travel more, and I want to take my family along because they mean the most. So that is my mid-year reflection so far. As I'm reading these things out and as I'm making plans for my future, I'm pretty happy with the way that things are going so far, and I'm really looking forward to what the rest of the year will bring. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you found it insightful and inspiring. And if you liked it, please make sure to like and subscribe so we can connect. Bye. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.